Hi everyone. Today I'd like to cover a very powerful enhancement released by the Fusion Engineering team sometime in November 2025, and that is nothing but basic authentication support in Custom Webhook. Previously, we didn't have the option to enable basic authentication in Custom Webhook, and then that raised some security concerns, and then we had to rely on manual workarounds such as enabling authentication inside the scenario using a module, and then checking for username and password inside the scenario, and then if it is successful only then would you move forward with the execution, otherwise you throw an arrow back to the calling application. We had to rely on these kind of manual workarounds, but now Fusion supports basic authentication in custom webhooks. So we'll see how we can configure basic authentication in custom webhooks. So let's get started. So we are in Fusion now. So let's add a module. Right click, choose module. Let's search for webhook. Okay. And then should be custom webhook, right? Just click on custom webhook. Let's add a custom webhook. Click on add. Okay. And let's name it POC custom webhook. Um, Basic auth, let's say basic auth. Okay, let's just copy this here. Okay, and then let's click on show advanced settings. Okay, um let's not worry about data structure, so let's add the credentials. Okay, so this is where we enable basic authentication in the webhook using this credentials option. So let's add a credential here. Let's say add and let's say basic authentication, basic auth key test, let's say, and then the username, let's say test weapon one, let's say, and then password, let's give a nice password. Okay, and think that should do the trick. Okay, now let's create a key here. Okay, so this enables the basic authentication in this webhook, and let's click on get request headers, and then get request HTTP method, so that the headers will be added in the request body, and even the method will be added in the request body, right? So that's okay. I think that's all we need to do here. So let's click on save. I think let's click on OK. Let's also add a response module, webhooks response. Okay, and we'll give a 200 response back to the calling application, and then we'll give a success message back to the calling application, right? So let's add this JSON status equal to success to the calling application, right? So to the parent application or the calling application, let's say. Let's click on OK here, and let's click on save. Okay, now let's configure the parent scenario, which will call this scenario, right? The parent scenario. Let's configure that. So let's add a HTTP module. Okay. Let's say HTTP module. And let's copy the let's select make a basic auth request. Okay, so because we'll be making a basic authentication request, right? And the credentials, we can select it. This is the one we selected, so let's select this. And the URL, let's copy the URL from the webhook. Let's copy the URL here. Let's copy this, and let's paste the URL here. And then let's not worry about the, yeah, let's select the method as get, and I think that's all we need to do. Show advanced settings. You have a lot of other settings which we will not cover today. Okay, so let's click on OK here, and let's save it, and let's try to run the scenario, and let's see the output. Think scenario is not active. We have to enable the scenario. Okay, so this scenario is not enabled, so let's go back. Let's save it first of all. Let's go back and let's try to enable the scenario, and then let's try to run the scenario once again, the parent scenario. Okay, right click, run this module only, and then we should get a success response here. Okay, we got a success response. So this is how you enable basic authentication in a custom webhook. I hope this was useful. Have a great day.